When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I didn't cry. Not when the doctor said the word, not when I lost my hair, not even when the insurance company said the treatment I needed wasn't fully covered. I held it all in because my son Ryan needed me to be strong. After his father passed when Ryan was just a boy, I made a vow. I'd carry both our strengths for him. I raised him on my own, worked 2 jobs, skipped meals so he could have soccer cleats, and missed holidays to pay for his tuition. And I never once asked for anything in return, until I needed help. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. When I told Ryan about the cancer, I didn't even ask him for money. I just asked him to help me set up a fundraiser. I wasn't on social media, and I didn't want to ask neighbors or friends directly. But Ryan was good with people, charismatic, charming. "Don't worry, Mom," he said, hugging me. "I'll handle everything." Within a week, he had launched a GoFundMe with a beautifully written plea, using my photo, my story, even my doctor's note. Donations poured in. Old friends from high school sent what they could. A woman I hadn't spoken to in 20 years gave $500. The final amount raised? $18,340. I was speechless. I called Ryan crying, telling him how blessed I felt, how thankful, and he replied, "Anything for you, Mom?" But weeks passed, and I hadn't seen the money. Each time I brought it up, he brushed it off. "I'm handling the transfer, taxes, paperwork. It's just banking stuff," he'd say. "Trust me." I did. I trusted him because he was my son, because I loved him, because I believed no child would ever exploit their dying mother. Until one morning, I woke up to a flood of Instagram stories and Facebook posts. Pictures of Ryan on a yacht, surrounded by his friends, bottles of champagne, cigars, girls in bikinis, a glittering banner that read, "Ryan's last night of freedom." At first, I thought maybe his fiancée, Lily, had thrown him a party, but as I kept scrolling, my hands started to shake. Then I saw it. A story clip from one of his friends, captioned, "Bro spent $18,000 easy. Cancer fund? More like party fund." I dropped my phone. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at the wall. Something inside me cracked, like the last string of hope I had stretched to its limit and finally snapped. This wasn't a misunderstanding. He had taken the money meant to save my life, to throw a party before he got married. The next day, I didn't call him. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I called my bank, then my lawyer, then a friend of Lily's who owed me a favor. I was tired of being the silent one. I had 6 months left to live, maybe more, maybe less. But I wasn't going to spend it begging my own child for dignity. I was going to make sure that if he wanted to spend that money like I was already dead, he'd feel the consequences while I was still alive. And that's how the plan began. Quiet, deliberate, and painfully precise. 2 days after I discovered the truth, Ryan finally called me, not to apologize, not to explain, but to ask me if I could babysit their dog while they went on a weekend trip to distress from the wedding planning. I stared at the phone in disbelief, listening to his voice act as if everything was normal, as if my cancer, my suffering, and his betrayal didn't exist. "Ryan," I said slowly, my voice cold and even, "did you use my fundraiser money for your bachelor party?" He hesitated, then he chuckled like it was all a joke. "Come on, Mom, it was just a little bit. I'll pay it back after the wedding. You wouldn't want my friends to think I'm cheap, would you?" That was the moment I knew. My son didn't feel guilty. He felt entitled. I hung up without a word. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, remembering the little boy I raised, the one who would hold my hand when crossing the street, the one who once cried because he lost the drawing he made for me. I wondered where that boy went. Maybe I lost him somewhere along the way while trying to keep food on the table. Maybe I gave so much he forgot what it meant to give back. But I wasn't going to be quiet anymore. The next week, I reached out to Lily. I didn't accuse Ryan. I didn't say a word about the money. I just told her I had something urgent to give her before the wedding. "A personal gift," I said. "Something important." She agreed to meet me at a cafe downtown. I arrived early and waited. When Lily walked in, radiant, nervous, and glowing with excitement, I smiled gently. She looked so young, so trusting. She reminded me of myself once, before life taught me who to stop trusting. "Is everything okay?" she asked, worried. I slid a small envelope across the table. "These are the guest lists for Ryan's bachelor party, and the receipts for everything." She frowned, confused. She opened the envelope slowly. Inside were itemized lists, hotel charges, yacht rental confirmation, liquor store receipts, digital printouts from Instagram stories, and a copy of the GoFundMe withdrawal history showing exactly where every cent of the $18,340 went. Her face drained of color. Her hand trembled. "He told me he paid for everything from his savings." "He told the world he needed that money to help his dying mother," I replied. Lily stared at me silent. I thought she would cry, but instead she stiffened, her jaw clenched, and then she thanked me. I left the cafe quietly. I didn't tell her what to do. I didn't beg her to cancel the wedding. I just gave her the truth, because for once, it was my turn to be heard. 3 days before the wedding, I got a text from Lily. "Thank you for saving me from a lifetime of lies. I'll never forget this." And on the morning of Ryan's big day, I made my own plans. I packed a small suitcase, slipped into a blue silk dress, booked a car to the airport, because while everyone else arrived at the church, waiting for a bride who would never walk down the aisle, I was sipping champagne at Gate 14, boarding a flight to Santorini. I still had some of that money left, and I was going to use it for something life-giving. Not chemo, not pills, not quiet suffering, but sunlight, sea breeze, and the quiet joy of reclaiming the years they thought I'd already buried. The sea was bluer than I remembered, or maybe I'd just never taken the time to really look at it before. The air in Santorini was warm and forgiving, the kind of air that lets you breathe all the pain out in long exhales and replace it with silence. For the first time in years, I wasn't being anyone's mother, anyone's burden, anyone's source of funds or forgiveness. I was just alive. On the third morning, I got an email with the subject, "I hope you're happy." It was from Ryan. He didn't bother with greetings. He didn't ask where I was or if I was okay. Instead, the message went straight into accusations. "You humiliated me." Lily called everything off and told everyone why. "My groomsmen ditched me. People are whispering that I stole from my dying mother. Do you have any idea what you've done?" I read it twice. Then I calmly deleted it. What I had done was finally stop pretending. He hadn't even asked if I was still dying. The truth was, I wasn't. 2 weeks before I found the bachelor party photos, I'd gotten my test results. The cancer was still there, but it had slowed dramatically. My doctor said the new meds might buy me more time, maybe a year, maybe 5, maybe more. But I hadn't told anyone yet, not because I was hiding, but because I was deciding what to do with the time I had left. Ryan had already shown me what he would do with it. Throw parties. Lieutenant, take, expect. So I decided to do something different. I extended my stay. I danced barefoot in the white streets. I sat under the stars with strangers who didn't know my name. I let the sun touch my skin without shame. And on the night that would have been his wedding night, I stood on a balcony and toasted to myself, with the same champagne he'd once bought for his yacht celebration, now poured in my glass. The next day, I mailed Lily a letter, not asking for thanks, not offering advice, just telling her, "You still have time to build a life that doesn't begin with betrayal. Don't ever let anyone spend your love like currency." Weeks passed, then months. Ryan tried calling. I never answered. I wasn't angry. I just didn't have anything left to give. Not to a man who saw his mother as a disposable wallet with a tumor attached. Instead, I focused on the quiet, on morning tea, on journaling, on watching sunsets with no one asking what I was doing next. Back home, word got out. People whispered. Distant cousins messaged to say they heard what happened and that I was brave. But I didn't need validation. I had peace. On my 63rd birthday, I lit a single candle in a cafe in Lisbon. a stranger sang to me in Portuguese. And I smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because I had chosen for once to live before I died. My son used my cancer fund for a bachelor party, so I gave his fiancée the receipts, and I gave myself the world. One ticket, one boundary, one sunrise at a time.